Hey, Kris, back with Through the Prism of Chrism. We're talking about what's right with riches. I've been studying from Proverbs and found a whole bunch of riches to rags stories. I didn't say rags to riches, riches to rags. That's basically what it says in Proverbs 23 and 21, that the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. Riches to rags. It happened to the prodigal son. He had everything, but he squandered his father's inheritance on riotous living and ended up shirtless, nose down in a pig pen. Riches to rags. So I'm going to give you some keys from Proverbs on things that will guarantee bankruptcy if you're interested. And the first is loving pleasure. Proverbs 27 and verse 17. He that loves pleasure shall be a poor man. I've seen people that have battled their way to the top only to bottle their way back down to the bottom. You have to watch the bottle. You have to watch pleasure. The second thing is inattention. When he says drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags, he's talking about inattentiveness, having your eyes wide shut, just not being unaware. The elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. It says in Proverbs 20 and verse 13, love not sleep lest you come to poverty, but open your eyes and you'll be satisfied with bread. So in other words, if you'll open your eyes to the opportunity and to the possibilities, great things can happen. Listen, when you snooze, you lose. When you sleep, you slip. When you slack, you lack. When you nap, you cap all further potential. Okay, number 3 is negligence. Negligence. Romans 12 and 11, not slothful in business. Proverbs 10 and 4, he becomes poor that deals with a slack hand. What do you mean by that? Just hanging there. Somebody said, I could sure use a helping hand. Well, there's one on the end of your arm, one on the end of my arm, if we'd put it to work. And then Proverbs 13 and 23. Listen to this. Much tillage or much food is in the tillage of the poor. The poor can till just like anybody else. And he said much food is in the tillage of the poor. In other words, if the poor would put to work the little that he has, God could expand on it, and increase. And then number 4 is a problem called idleness. You remember the parable where the guy said, why stand ye here idle all the day? Well, in fact, it was the 11th hour of the day. 11's a little bit late to be getting up out of bed, wouldn't you say? Ecclesiastes 10 and verse 18, by much slothfulness the building decays, and through idleness of the hands the house drops through. You've got to repair your holdings, amen? And I think about putting a new roof on the house. You need to do it while the sun's shining. Don't wait till disaster comes. Don't wait till it's raining to put a new roof on your house. By idleness of the hands the building drops through. That's demotivation. Proverbs 20 and verse 4, the sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold, therefore he shall beg in harvest and have nothing. It's too cold outside. I couldn't possibly go out and work today. Well, listen, there's somebody else that's fighting the blizzard and is getting ahead. Okay, idleness. The 5th thing is gullibility. Just believing anything you hear, any get-rich scheme that comes along. Proverbs 28 and verse 19, he that tills his land shall have plenty of bread, but he that follows after vain persons shall have poverty enough. Vain persons, vanity. Just anybody that says some wild fantasy. In fact, the New Living Translation says a person who chases fantasies. Okay? Number 6 is closed-mindedness, not listening to sound advice. Proverbs 13 and verse 18, poverty and shame shall be to him that refuses instruction. If you're going to do it your own way, you'll have it your own way. But if you're willing to listen to advice, you can get ahead. And then number 7, unrestrained lust. It says in Proverbs 6 and 26 that by means of a whorish woman or a prostitute, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Listen, the devil's not going to be satisfied till he causes your divorce, gets you thrown out of your job, sullies your name, and leaves you on Skid Row. You got to watch out for unrestraint. And then finally is indifference, not caring for other people. Proverbs 28 and 27, he that gives to the poor shall not lack, but he that hides his eyes shall have many a curse. You don't want to live under that curse. Open up your heart, be a blessing to other people, and watch God begin to increase you. Kris here with Through the Prism of Chrism. Like if you like. I hope you'll share this with your friends because we want to increase this listening audience of this program. We'll see you tomorrow with more on what's right with riches.